it's recording on my computer. It doesn't tell me where it's recording to.
It records to your desktop and then it will like upload a video and then you save it to your desktop and you can upload it either on YouTube or have to send a link to us.
Goes to my desktop? That's a horrible place to put a huge video. Where are my settings? Okay, I mess with this later. I hope I have enough space on my desktop. Let me just verify that. Yeah, I got 230 gigs. I think I'm good. All right, so recording. Today is Friday, February 12th. February 12th, 11/21, had a little technical snafu. Yeah, this is going to be recorded and uploaded. Sorry about that. For some reason, Blackboard is, can you see video? You guys see me?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, for some reason, I think Kent is having some kind of Blackboard issue. So they're going to do some maintenance over the weekend, Saturday night to like Sunday. Saturday from 7 to Sunday at 3, Blackboard's going to be in and out. So if you're having trouble uploading at that time, that is why. All right, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Anyone have any big problems with last week's assignment? I mean, you don't have to volunteer if you're embarrassed. Let me see. I'll just check the grading thing. Let's see. Everybody.
Professor, I had to resubmit my assignment too because I didn't turn in the PDF form the first time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's fine.
okay.
That's fine. As long as you have something handed in, I won't give a 0. I see one student that didn't hand anything in, you know, I'm gonna give you like 45 seconds to hand in something before I give a 0. And then, you know, the zeros are just you're gonna have to do the work and get it uploaded to replace that 0. If you can get that done before I do grading, then, you know, I probably won't notice that it's late. But if I do grade before it's uploaded, yes, definitely the 0 will become permanent. So so up until midterms, which is coming up in a couple weeks, I can be a little bit more flexible with, I mean, there's 2 styles of teaching I can do. I can do like super strict, where mistakes are painful and emotionally scarring, but that will help you never make that mistake again. Or I could be more flexible and then allow you guys to get softer, so to speak, and then we'll have fun in the class, but if you take these habits to another class, you're gonna get crucified by another teacher. And we don't want that to happen. I don't know. So what I've been doing is kind of a hybrid these days. I'm kind of flexible up to midterms. After midterms, if you don't know how to save, if you don't know how to convert a file to a PDF, if you don't know how to check the file size and make sure it's under 20 megs, you know, you should make sure you know how to do this stuff. If you don't know how to go to Blackboard and figure out what's due and get it done and get it uploaded correctly, if you can't figure that out by week 6, you're gonna be in trouble. You gotta come and come to office hours. I have Tuesday at 11. I've got hours Wednesday at noon. You need to text me for the Wednesday one. And then there are other days possible if you have a good excuse. I can see what I can do. But, you know, that'll be cutting into my own personal time. I can meet with you if you're having fundamental issues, like you're having trouble, if something's confusing you or you're having trouble getting started. I know a few of you have already taken advantage of office hours and we've worked through that. I like doing that in larger groups as opposed to one person, because I don't want to have like 3 single people see me in one day and have me say the exact same thing over and over again. If you can all just come to one time. I'm going to be more strict about this too, because it's all being recorded, so you can just watch this. All right, so enough talking. Let's get to the work. Okay, so I'll do a screen share here. Screen. You guys can see my screen? Everybody? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, great. So let's go to, whoops, don't look at that. Let me go to, all right, how do I do this without getting fired? All right, let's see, Blackboard. Courses. There's my class. Okay, so yeah, this Zoom is everything's all different. All right, so here we are. We're in the course content area. Let's take a look. What do we have due? What are we doing this week, today? So we are a week behind everybody else. Everyone else is doing croquis. We are doing patterns. So we are on week 3, Adobe Illustrator 2. We're going to talk about Project 1, flats and croquis, and classwork 2 was due today. That was the tracing homework, I believe. The in-class tracing homework plus the accessories homework, where you get the images from WGSN or someplace else, and then you create an artboard, you put them on there, and you upload that PDF. Today, we are talking about, let's take a look. Let's go to the, oh, so if you don't have Illustrator up and running, you should get that up and running. And if you don't have the in-class homework downloaded for today's lab, which is here at week, it's classwork 3.
I have a question.
Sure.
I can't I can download the Illustrator files, but I can't have it open while you're on Collaborate or like Zoom, or else my computer just like glitches out.
Yeah, that happens. In that case, you just have to kind of
But I
like
just watch.
watch, take notes, and then,
Okay.
I mean, most of you should just be watching. This is the great advantage of this time period. Normally, we don't have anything on video, so you have to sit there and take mad notes in class. So then it becomes an issue. Like, can you take notes and use the computer at the same time? Most people can't. I mean, you can't. You only have 2, unless some of you come from another planet and have the 3rd arm. You take notes, and then you go back and you listen and try to understand it as best you can. Then you work on it on your own. And then what'll happen is I'll pause the lecture and then let you guys start working and trying out stuff. So I think this file here, in-class Illustrator 2 zip, you need to download that. And once it goes into your download folder, there are 3 things you need to do when you open up a new Illustrator folder, right? And I've talked about that already. So I've already put my my Illustrator 2. So Illustrator 2, when you, for Apple people, you can just click on it and you see this. The in-class one is what we're doing in class. This is our take-home homework. We have some templates here for drawing flats. I'll go over that later. 3 things when we open up Illustrator work. Do I need to call on people, or who can tell me what the first thing we do is? Oh, there is a llama. Okay, that's not embarrassing. All right. Totally accurate selfie. All right, let me close that. In class, this was helping out somebody yesterday. All right, so this is where we're going today. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to talk to you about finding your Pantone colors from a photograph. using a method called creating an object mosaic. I'm going to show you how to turn a vector object into a live paint object where you can use a paint bucket, which is right here, to add color. And then I'm going to show you how to take a sketch that you maybe draw with a pen or pencil, and I'm going to show you how to instantly turn this into a vector object that you can scale, that will always look clear, and then you can add color to with the live paint bucket. That's really cool. And then I'm going to show you how to instantly find a color story. Like once you have a composition created, how to quickly just change your color palette. And then I'm going to show you how to create 3 patterns. A block pattern, and you're going to take your repeating motif and you're going to put it up here in the corner, and you're going to list down here which motifs you used in your motif here. So these motifs should be numbered. And then you're going to create a block pattern, a half drop pattern. Whoa, this half drop pattern is incorrect. So you see I have my motif here. I cannot see my motif repeating 3 times horizontally or vertically, which is what everyone needs to do to get credit for your patterns. So I click on the object that I use to fill with my, my pattern fill. And here's my pattern that I created. And as you can see, if I hit done over here, I'm done. It's too big. My motifs are too big. So I'm going to show you guys how to double click on your pattern swatch, how to identify where your area of repeat is, so this blue triangle, how to use your tools here to grab everything and hold your shift key to resize your motif. Now to get rid of this white space, I'm going to hit this size tile to art button, hit done, and then I've resized my pattern to, it's a half drop. So you see it's over here. Instead of going straight to the right like over here on this pattern, it kind of goes down halfway. I'll show you how to do a hex pattern here. I'm getting a lot of something. Let me see. Am I getting Slack messages? No? All right. So not exactly sure. Am I no longer in Slack? No, I'm still in Slack, right? All right. So let me go back to Illustrator. I'm going to show you how to create a hex pattern. And then I'm going to show you how to do this homework for yourself. You're going to go and you're going to research some photographs. You're going to find some, I should probably open Acrobat Pro here and show you the homework. Oh, that was Gabriella's work. Let's see. I'll dig that up later. And then I'll show you how to do the homework for in class. All right, everyone ready? Everyone ready to go?
Yes.
Everyone have this file open? All right, okay, so I'm gonna check the lab. Actually, let me check the lab and see if there's something I'm supposed to be talking about. So I'm gonna go over here to Lab Spark presentation, and I'm gonna look at Illustrator 2, week 3. And this is what we're going to be doing today. In the beginning here, we've got a designer who, and there's a little video here if you want to watch this very innovative designer use lasers and crystals to try to, this designer had a vision of somebody wearing pure lava and achieved this by showing the lava flow with lasers and use some programming to move the lasers. Nice little 2-minute video or so. I'm not going to show that in class. I don't think we have enough time. Here's another video of students using the Adobe Suite. Some nice little propaganda for Adobe. It's a nice little video. You can watch that on your own. Here's the in-class work. We're going to be doing patterns. Here are some official Adobe tutorials. If you don't like listening to me or going to YouTube, you can watch this here. These 3 links. Creating a pattern, example Adobe. Yeah, these are nice. And then we're going to talk about our homework here. Oh, and then project one. I should probably talk about project one, even though this is last. I'm going to talk about this first because it's important. Or do you want to hear it last? I know once I start talking about patterns, everyone's brains are going to melt. Will you be in good mental shape to hear about the project? So let me just. So it says here, project one flats and croquis. What is a tech pack? So this is like a tech pack is something that designers you're going to become very familiar with, because once you create a garment and and let's say you win a lot of money in some kind of contest, and they want a tech pack so that they can go manufacture your garment. It's basically like a flat that has lots of information on there to give the manufacturers just a complete idea of what to expect, some little helpful hints on deciphering your picture to make sure that they create the correct garment. So you can see here some notes here, like which material is made of mesh, the functions of certain things. And so we're going to just, this happened again. All right, so we're going to help you make these flats for your project one. We're going to help you make croquis. And again, for those of you in garment construction and drawing, you're going to learn how to draw the croquis and flats correctly. I'm not going to show you how to draw in this class, so you will learn how to draw differently. But we're just using this subject matter because it's fashion related and it's fun. And the point of this class is to kind of get more practice with that pen tool. So with the flats, with the croquis, again, we're going to be practicing. So there's lots of questions on what can I use for a croquis. So I'll be showing you next week two different, am I on the right lecture? Yeah, I'll be showing you next week how to trace your croquis. So let me outline this, how to get started on your project one croquis. All right, so there's two methods to do this. One is using live trace, which I'm going to show you as homework, as in-class work today. The other method is just using the pen tool and tracing a photograph, and we'll talk about that next week. So I have a little bit of extra homework for you that's not listed here. So for those of you who are watching the video and not skipping around, you're going to be prepared for next week's class. Get a pencil and write this down. You need to, if you know how to draw, then you need to start drawing your croquis. I would draw your croquis already wearing the clothing that you're going to feature. So last week we talked about collecting your clothes, right? Top, bottom, and a one piece, and then taking an overhead two-dimensional photo of those, having those ready. Next week you're going to have, if you know how to draw, you're going to draw your 9 heads croquis wearing clothing. For reference, you can always grab a friend or a roommate and put them in your clothes, and you can take pictures of them and have them pose. And next week we'll show you how to stretch the legs out, how to do a tracing. If you want to draw your croquis wearing his clothing, this will be the fastest way to do it. So if you see a photograph or you've seen a stylized drawing someplace, you can trace it with tracing paper and ink it. And then you can take that picture and we can turn it into a live paint object in Illustrator. What I don't want you doing is finding a croquis from online and just hitting the image trace button. That is plagiarism. You will get in trouble for that. We need to draw our own croquis or create our own croquis with a photograph. And I'll show you how to do that later in class. All right, so let me show you some. Yeah, so I'll talk more about this. If I don't get to it, you can watch the Monday 5:30 video. I talk plenty about Project One. I'm gonna kind of skip that for now, and we'll come back to it because of the little late start that I had in class. Okay, so let's talk about the homework. I'm gonna talk about the in-class work first. We'll talk about finding your color story. So you know what? Here, I'm going to have everyone start here by going up to their file menu and saying new. And we are going to start our project 1. So for those of you who have trouble getting stuff started, I'm going to get you started today. There's no excuse. So right here, when I say new document from file, I get this option here. We have a lot of presets at the top. We're going to click on print because what we used to do in this class was design stuff and then print it out. It's also useful for printing, you know, fabric and stuff. Over here where it says preset details, you're going to change that from Untitled 1. You're going to change it to your last name, project 1. And then very important here, change the units here from points to inches. I had several students complaining that their work was very fuzzy when they saved it. They couldn't see it because they left it on points, and they had 11 by 17 pixel points was the dimensions of their artboard. That's about as big as a tip of a toothpick. So we want to change this to inches because we want something larger than a toothpick. So it goes to 11 by 8.5. I'm going to change this to 11 by 14. That's kind of portrait mode. And whoops, I forgot to make sure it's on 300 DPI. No, wait, this is Illustrator. I think that was it. One artboard is fine, I think. Am I doing that? Project 1. No. You know what? So I screwed up. I hit the enter key, and I hit, so I created one artboard here. We're supposed to have 4 artboards for project 1. So I'm going to show you how to check this. So to make sure you have the right dimensions here, you go to File. Just watch this. Keep notes of this. This is how you find your dimensions. I'm going to go over here to my File dropdown. If you have a Mac, you're going to click on the Photoshop icon dropdown. I think is where it's at, where Document Setup is. They're in 2 different places between a PC and a Mac. You hit Document Setup. You hit this. You hit this. Can I move this bar here? Yeah. You hit this Edit Artboard setting, and then right here where it says width and height, you can see the units and inches of your artboard. I have 14 by 11. You can swap that around, and if it says PT, that means pixel points. Change that from PT to IN for inches. That will fix that. All right. So I'm going to grab my selection tool and click on any space to get out of that document setup mode. And I need to add 3 more artboards to my artboard here. So if you look over here on the right, and if you don't see these tools here, you need to do what? What 3 things do we do when we open up a new document? First thing we do is we file and we save as. And we're going to save it where we can find it. So I'm in a good spot here. I'm in my Fashion Tech folder, my AI folder. We'll call this Project 1. I'll save that there. When this pops up, you just say OK. Now, the second thing we need to do is make sure all my tools look like, so some of you are saying, you know, I don't see these tools over here. I don't see what you're seeing. Make sure you're in the workspace right here. So I go to Windows, Workspace, Essentials Classic. And if you're already in Essentials Classic and you can't see some stuff, you just go to Reset Essentials Classic. This will solve 90% of your problems. So now I can see my swatch panel is here. I can see my artboard. I can see my layers over here. That was 1, 2, 3 is the view edges. So I'm going to go to view, and here it says hide edges. That means my edges are showing, so I'm good. And now I need to add some more artboards. So if you look right here, it looks like a portrait and landscape artboard picture frame button. You click on that, and these are your artboards here. I'm going to add 3 more artboards. So there's a little plus sign right here and say add a second artboard, add a third artboard, add a 4th artboard. So I have, as you can see, I have 4 artboards added. Now let's zoom out here, Control minus. And I'm zoomed out. My 4 artboards are right next to each other. If you wanted to arrange them like instead of in a row, you can want to do a column. You can click on this button right here. It says Rearrange Artboards, and you can choose, you know, any layout order for your artboards. You can have 2 columns, you know, and then you can do it like that. It might be easier. All right, Project 1. So we're going to create some swatches down here. We're gonna put our flats over here, put our croquis as well. So as you see, I've done some work here. I got a little asterisk sign. It means I haven't saved it yet. So since I saved it in my folder, I can just hit, File Save, or Control or Command S to save your document. So we've started our project 1, and it's a good start. Look at this. Oh, it's perfect. All right. So now let's go to our in-class work, and let me show you how to find the Pantone code. So we should have, last week I told you to find a photograph that has at least 5 colors that you want to use for your project 1. If you haven't done that yet, let me show you how to do that. You're just going to go to Google here. We're going to look for, we're going to do an image search here. And we're going to, whoops, this is DuckDuckGo. Hold on a second. And then you want to type in something that will give you a photograph of something that will have your 5 colors. So if you have like, I don't know, jelly beans or macaroons, or I like doing the sunset photo. So I'm going to click on images here, and I'm going to go to tools and size, and we're going to select large. And I'm going to look for a photo. So this photograph here is kind of monochromatic. I'm going to look for a photograph that has like at least 5 colors in it, so I can select 5 colors for my, look at this. This is brilliant. There's definitely 5 colors here. So I'm going to grab this picture here. Let's copy this picture. And don't worry about copyright for this, because we're just grabbing color at this point. It doesn't matter. And normally you will take your picture and paste it in. Now, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to my project here, and I'm going to paste this picture. And this is how I'm going to get my color here. So hold the Shift key to resize this proportionally. If your photograph pastes in very, very large, which happens a lot, you'll see this little black square here. This is the borders of your artboard. So you may need to zoom out. Control minus if you have a PC, Command minus if you have a Mac. Holding my Shift key down, I can resize this picture. All right, and oops. Let me go find the, what we're going to do is we're going to find our 5 colors. So let me go back to this in-class work here. In case you don't have your picture, or let's just finish this in-class work. So here's a photograph here. I'm going to take this photograph and I'm going to copy and paste it. So I have 2 pictures here. See, Control C, Control V. Did it work? No. Edit copy, edit paste. There it is. All right. So here's my second picture here. And let me show you how to find the mosaic. I'm going to click on the second picture, and I'm going to go to Object, right here where it says Create Object Mosaic. And then here, number of tiles, right? How many tiles? So if I go 2 by 2, Taryn, are you there? Taryn. Busted. Lorelei, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, what's 2 times 2?
4.
4. So here, I have 2 tiles in my width, 2 tiles in my height. If I say OK, look what happens to my my picture here. I got 4 tiles. And so what happens when you do mosaic is it divides your picture into 4 tiles, and then takes all the color, like finger painting, and just mashes all the color together. So you see this kind of sponge coral we have here. It's kind of lavender. It's taking up most of the space in this quadrant. So when I blend all this color in, it turns that color. This color over here, when I blend all this color, I get kind of a darker color. Down here, not the colors I really want. So let's try this again. I'm going to go Object, Create Object Mosaic, and I'm going to put in 10 times 10. All right, Taryn. Dane Kobik.
Yes.
What's 10 times 10?
100.
100. So now when I put 10 here times 10 in my mosaic, hit OK. You see what happens here, Dane? I got like 100 squares, right?
Yeah.
All right, so now depending on the more number of squares you have, the more accurate your colors will be. So now instead of just one big lavender square, I've got like several shades of lavender, you know, several shades of yellow. And this may or may not be enough. You may have to go higher than 10 squares to get the color that you want. Anyway, this is pretty good, right? So I think I can get 5 colors out of here and put them down here. So now I want everyone to go and, you know, if you're watching the demo, here's what we do next. We go over to our swatch panel right here, swatches, this tile. You open this one, and I'm going to pull this out. This is very important. This is where all our color is. And if you don't see a swatch panel, like you're looking over here and your swatch panel's gone, you just reset your workspace. Windows, workspace, reset Essentials Classic. There's your swatch panel. Or you can just go to View here, or I mean Window, excuse me, and then go find your swatch panel, swatches right down there. So here's my swatch panel. I'll pull this out. And I want to add all of these colors. I need to create a folder with 5 of my colors for my color story, which will make my life a lot easier. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press this folder button right here. It's called New Color Group. So this only appears if I take my selection tool and first click on this mosaic that I created. It's like a bunch of squares all grouped together. And I'm going to click on this folder and say, you know, we'll call this, you know, underwater. Or we'll call it scuba or something. I don't know, whatever. And then it says, you want to create this file from selected swatches or selected artwork. I'm going to just say this whole thing, shotgun method. Selected artwork, hit OK. And now I've got 100 squares of color in this folder, right? If I click on the folder, they all highlight. I only need 5 of these colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on 5 different colors here. Oh, and then you'll notice that because this picture is already selected, every time I click on a color, the whole picture selects. So I'm going to Control Z back to where my mosaic picture was. Here's my picture. Now I don't want this changing. I want to keep this for my homework. So I'm going to click outside of my selected image here with my selection tool. I'm just going to click outside to deselect that photograph. Now I want to select 5 colors here, but you see every time I select a new square, the old square that I had selected disappears. So if you want to select 5 at once, I mean, you can just drag individual colors down. So if I just click out here to make sure nothing is selected, and then click on a folder here, and we'll call this, you know, my, you know, project 1 or something. Now I can just go and drag 5 colors and drop it into this folder. So let's say I want like a nice lavender color or purplish lavender. I'll just drop it into my folder. There's 1. I want like a yellowish color. There's 2. I want like a greenish color. There's 3. I want like a brown. 4. And maybe a light periwinkle. There's 5. Right? Or, you know, if you want to show that you're a power user, if you have a PC, you can hold your control key down and just select 5 different tiles. And then hit this folder and say, you know, create a new color group from these 5 tiles. And then it does that. I'm going to undo that since I already have my colors. Or you can, I mean, there's so many different ways. Drag it down or select those 5. Anyway, once you have your color story of 5 colors here, and that's what we need to find the Pantone code. So right now when I hover my mouse over these color tiles, it shows me the red, green, blue recipe to create this light blue. So I have, you know, it's out of 200 and 220, I think is the color range. 0 to 220 is the intensity. 0 meaning no color, 220 being full color. And so you can see here, I have 124 red, I have only 16 green, or 161 green, and 208 blue. And that's how I get this color. Now, I don't need the RGB recipe. I need the Pantone number. All right, so let me show you how to do that. So first of all, I want to fill this box here. Right now, when I click on the box, you can see it has a white fill for my, my colors. All I need to do is now go to my color story and click on this first color, and you'll see that box will change to the first color. If I go to the second box here and click on it, again, it shows a white fill. I could just click on the second color here. Third color, I can go to the third color right there. It doesn't matter where you do it, either from your swatch panel or from this fill button. Fourth one, I'm going to go to this fourth color. Fifth color here, I'm going to go to that color. And in between clicking on all this stuff, I'm constantly clicking on empty space to make sure nothing odd is selected. When you click on empty space, you kind of have a fresh cursor, and that way you can click on any one of these, whoops, without worry about something weird happening. All right, so now I've filled these squares up with my color story. You know, and you can do this in your project one too. So here's my project one. Here's my picture that I downloaded. I'm going to do my mosaic, create object mosaic, 10 tiles by 10 tiles. We'll hit OK. Right? I'm going to create a color story here. So these are all selected, right? So I'm going to go create color story from selected artwork, and it creates 100 squares. Now I'm going to create a new one and call this one sunset. And of course, in between I was, oops. So I still had this all selected here. So in between I have to click on empty space to make sure nothing's selected. Then click on my folder. There's my new folder here, and I got one color. I don't need that white color. I'll put it back. Oh wait, here we go. Let's put this white color back someplace. So I need my 5 colors here. I can go one. I'm going to hold my control key down. If you have a Mac, you can hold your command key down. We'll select my 5 colors here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only reason I'm doing it this way is just so I could look cool. You know, and then you could take those and you could drag them into your folder, those 5, or you could just you could drag each individual color down one by one, or you can just hit this folder button and say, you know, oops, then I didn't need that folder. Anyway, either way, however you want to do it, you get your 5 colors here. Eventually, you'll be making your own squares. So here's my rectangle tool. I'll show you how to do this later. You may be wondering, how do I get my squares all the same size? It's a little difficult. I'll show you a trick. View, you can do something called show grid, and it will give you a little grid here. And you could drag out, you know, one rectangle. It doesn't really matter. I would just be consistent. I would go from like here to there. And if you want it to be perfectly sized, I'm going to show you something, but you have to remember to turn this off when you're done. If I go to view and say I have show grid on, if I say snap to grid, now I'm going to turn this on once, but I need you to remember to turn this off because it's super annoying once it's turned on if you're trying to draw or trace anything. So I'm going to do snap to grid on, and now when I drag this, it will just snap to these lines here, and I can create perfectly with like 2 box spaces here, like these rectangles. And once I have some rectangles, I need 5 of these. I can just take those and I can copy and paste those here. I need one more. Copy and paste that. I'm just holding my Alt key, my Option key. Once you have this, you can take your selection tool and you can drag it around all 5 of these boxes, and you can, you know, you can resize these any way you like. And once you have those, and these are all selected, you can hold your Alt key or your Option key if you have a Mac, and you see the double triangle there? That's your copy paste function. You can drag out a 2nd row and a 3rd row, which you're going to need 3 rows of color for your color story, and then you'll need 2 rows for your patterns and your pattern colorway. Oops. I'll show you how to fill the patterns this week. Let's go on to this. So for the Pantone codes, I just click on the square here and then click on my color story, 2nd square, 2nd color, 3rd square, 3rd color, 4th square, 4th color. fifth square, fifth color, right? There's my color story for my project. So, and then I see a little asterisk over here for my project. I'm going to hit save because you know you want to save early, save often. And let me show you how to find the Pantone code. So right now, here's my color story. Here's my Pantone colors. I need to find the Pantone code here. So it's a 7-step process. So you write 1 to 7, and you're going to do it twice, because you know for whatever reason Adobe is still glitchy, and oftentimes you have to do it twice. So here, let me show you how to do that. First step, you click on the folder that has your colors. Second step, and so when you click, so right now look at the bottom here. I've got no color wheel, but as soon as I click on the folder, I get a color wheel here. It looks kind of like a grapefruit cut in half. Nice breakfast grapefruit. Yum, yum, look at that. All right, so I'm gonna click on the folder here to get my color wheel. So first step, click on the folder. Second step, click on the color wheel. Third step, click on the swatch icon. Fourth step, click on color books. And then these are our Pantone color books. I'm gonna choose CMYK coded. This one, the first one in the list. You don't have to do this one, but you know this is the one I like to do. And then I don't know what number I'm on. The next step is you click OK, and the step after that is you say, do you want to save changes? You say yes. Now you see little white triangles over your colors here, and when I hover my mouse, I should see my Pantone code, but if not, we'll do it twice. So I see Pantone codes for my colors, so that worked miraculously. Usually it still says RGB for a few of them. If that's the case, you just click on the folder and you do it a second time. So click on the folder 1, click on the color wheel 2, click on the swatch panel 3, click on the color book 4, click on the Pantone CMYK coded 5, click on OK 6, you click on yes, save it 7, and then you're done. And then you see I've got Pantone codes. So I've already got them. So now when I hover over this periwinkle here, I see it says Pantone 106-12C. So I'm going to zoom in here. Always zoom in. And I'm going to type in here my selection tool. I'm just going to click on this layer to get my text cursor. I'm just double clicking inside the layer until my cursor pops up. And I'll move this cursor around and I'll type in, what was it, 106-12C. There's my Pantone code for that one. I'll hit the selection because now I got to go over here. All right, so what's this green one? 158-16C. So 158-16C.
Professor, can you go over again how to get the swatches from the photo?
Sure. Right now I can't scroll. I keep hitting the space bar and this is happening. And what I'm doing is, because for some reason I'm in my text tool, now I'm just doing all kinds of craziness. So I'm going to Control Z, go back in time and erase those things I don't need. From here, after you're typing and you want to scroll out, you got to hit the selection tool. Now I can scroll out. And the question was, how do I get 5 colors again? So after the mosaic, right?
Before the mosaic.
Okay, so before. So here's my photo. Step 1, selection tool. Step 2, click on the photo. Step 3, object drop down. Step 4, create object mosaic. Step 5, type in 10 by 10 or however many numbers you need to get all your tiles. Step whatever the next step is, hit OK, and then I have my mosaic. And you can see it's highlighted in blue. That means this object layer with all of these tiles, these squares that are grouped together, these are selected. You can see that if you go to your layer panel here and you expand this, you see I have selected is, it says group. So this is all grouped squares. If I open this group, you'll see just 100 squares of different color. And it got all grouped together. Anyway, so now that I have my group, Now let's get our colors out of it. So I'm going to go to my swatch panel, which is now missing, right? Where's my swatch panel? So I can go over here to window and go to swatches, right? Or I can go to Windows, Workspace, Reset Essentials Classic. There's my swatch panel, right? And now I need to create a color story. So how I do that is, so right now you're looking at something like this, or no, you're not looking at something like that. Let's get to something like that. So once you have your mosaic, and of course my mosaic is gone, isn't it? All right, so here we go. Review, object, create object mosaic, 10 by 10, hit OK. Now it's all selected. Now I'm going to click on this folder right here, and new color group, it says from selected artwork, which is this. Say OK. Boom, there's my 100 squares. Now I need to select 5 of these. So I'm going to click on empty space. And you can do it one of 2 ways. The easiest way is just click on the folder here to create your new color group. Oops, crap, I'm going to undo that. So I have to click on empty space, make sure nothing is selected. Then click on the folder, that way I get like an empty folder. And you'll notice I do a Control-Z, I go back in time a lot, which is great. This is why we're doing things in digital. So when you screw up, you hit Control-Z right away, you go back to where it was before you made your mistake. And I'm going to drag out 5 colors here. So I have like a light green, and I'm dragging it, I'm placing it right on top of the folder here. So I have a brown, I've got a light blue, oops. I've got a darker blue, lavender, 4. I have a dark green, 5. So these are my 5 colors. And then I'm going to select the folder here. And in order to pop up this color wheel, see, there's no color wheel here, but as soon as I click on the folder that has my 5 colors, color wheel, click on the color wheel, tile. So let me go through those steps. So 1, folder, 2, color wheel, 3, swatch panel, 4, color books, 5, Pantone CMYK coded, 6, click OK, 7, click yes, and then now you look at your colors. Then you go down and you select your square and you fill it in with the colors from your color story. And then you find your Pantone codes. So like this brown one here, whoops. Click on empty space again to make sure it's deselected. I'm gonna go right here and get this text, and I'll hover over the brown. I see my Pantone code is 44-16C. So I'll type in 44-16C. Then I'll go over here to this color and hover over that one. I have 164-13C. And then over here, I have 158-16C. And that's how you find the Pantone code. And I need to click out of here, so I'm going to click on my selection tool. And again, for your project 1, it's the same thing. So here's my color story from project 1. I need to find my Pantone code, so I'm going to click on the folder, click on the color wheel, click on the swatch panel, click on color books, Pantone CMYK coded. We'll click OK. And it moved it up here. What? Let me try this again. Try it down here. Boom, boom, color books, Pantone CMYK coded, hit OK. Yeah, I don't know why it moved my colors up here. That's fine. So, you know, I can actually select these colors. I'm holding my control key down, selecting these 5. Then I can hit this new color group. And here's my color tiles. Or you can just drag them into your folder here. So I'll delete this one. So now I should have my Pantone codes here. And I'm going to click on this square. We'll go that one. This square, go that color. Oops. Well, these were all selected. So deselect, click on empty space to deselect. First square, this color. Second square, that color. Third square, this color. Fourth square, that color. Fifth square, that color. All right, and Pantone codes. So, you know, you're gonna get some text here and you'll type, I'm only gonna do this once here. So here's, unfortunately, look at how dark this color is. Let's say I grab some text here and I started typing, just P for Pantone's enough. Pantone for this dark purple one is 8716C. Pantone 87-16C. So here's my text here. I'm gonna make this bigger, holding my shift key down to scale it. Now it's black text here. You can see my black color here. If I drag this down, it's very hard to see on my color. So I want to change the color of this text. So I'm gonna open up my layer panel here. And you can see my text right here. I can click on the eyeball to verify I have the right layer highlighted. Now, if I double click on this thumbnail here, all right, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with Photoshop. Here, I'm an Illustrator. So if I just click on this here, and I want to change the color, let's change this fill color. Let's see what happens to something brighter, right? Now when I drag this down, you know, it's much easier to see than the black color. And I still have snap to grid on. I forgot to turn that off yet. So someone remind me to turn that off later. But what's nice right now is because it's snapping to grid, I can just take this and hold my Alt key down to get my double triangle copy paste tool. And I can drag all of these to the right area. You may need to change the color of these. I have to change the color of this one because I can't even read it. So let's change that to black for that one. You know, so change the color of the text to complement it so that it has contrast so we can read it. And then of course you have to give like these names, like very clever titles for your color name based on your theme, right? So don't just say red, orange, green, blue. It's going to be fire. It'll be, you know, lava. And then, you know, you should choose a typeface that matches your theme. So make sure you choose something kind of interesting for that. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So you should have this much done by next week. Your color story done, your Pantone codes for your project one, as well as, oops, oh, I'm still in typing mode. So I did the same thing. I'm in typing mode and I'm just trying to click around the screen. I'm just dropping all kinds of nonsense. Selection tool will highlight all this junk, delete it. Okay. All right. So, and then you should have your flats start tracing at least the outline of those. So let's go back to the in-class work and we'll go over all this again. So there's the colors, there's the Pantone. Let me show you how to add color to something you've drawn. So here we have two examples. Something maybe you draw with your pen tool, some flats, and you want to add color to it, or something here like a pencil drawing. And this is great. So this is how most graphic designers, and you'll see this, once you know how to do this, you'll be able to recognize this in the real world. On anything with a graphic, like a mouse pad, a glass, a mug, a t-shirt, you'll see artwork. And if you've ever wondered how to get stuff you've drawn onto fabric, onto plastic, you know, cut out with a laser cutter or whatever, this is how you do it. You can either draw it with your pen tool, or you take any drawing. You can go back to your old journal you have from junior high. you have like a little cute little doodle in the corner that you thought was nice, but it was a tiny little pencil drawing, and you thought, you know, someday maybe this would be a great logo or something. I'm going to show you how to take this old pencil drawing and turn it into something clear and crisp that has color that you can send out, and immediately with that Illustrator file, they can put it onto anything, any object. They can cut it out, and it'll be super, super clear. So let me show you first how to use the paint bucket tool. So here we have this object here, and now when I click on it with my selection tool, you'll notice that the transformation handle on the outside look just like marshmallows. This is just a regular object. This means this is not a live paint object. So here, I'm gonna go check the tab here, and I see it says Illustrator 02 in class. I never saved my work. So that was the first thing we need to do when we open an Illustrator file, is save our work. All right, so I'm gonna go save as. I'm gonna go to my Fashion Tech folder. I'm gonna go to my Adobe Illustrator folder. We'll change this one to, from Illustrator, we'll just say Hahn, your last name. 02 in class is fine. I'm gonna save that. That was the first thing we did. Second thing was Workspace, Essentials Classic, right? Third thing was View, Show Edges. I have hide edges showing, so I'm good. All right, so now let's turn this into a live paint object. I'm gonna zoom in here. So the first thing we do, like 4 steps. You take your selection tool, you click on your object. Then you go to the object dropdown. And then you go down to Live Paint Object, and you select Make. So that was, once again, Selection Tool. Then you click on your object. First is Selection Tool. Second, click on your object on an object line here, in case it has no fill. Third, Object Dropdown. Fourth, Live Paint. 5, Live Paint Make. Now you see little shattered snowflakes where the transformation handles is. That's a good sign. That means you have now turned this into a live paint object. So step number 6 is find the live paint bucket. Live paint bucket hides under this shape builder tool. It looks like a snowman that fell over. If you click and hold that button, you will get the live paint bucket. The shortcut is a letter K for your keyboard. I mean K for bucket. You click on that and you see your bucket. Now, you may be wondering which color fill. You see how it has a white square? That means the color I have selected to fill is white. I do not want that. So I'm going to open my swatch panel here. We'll drag this down. And you'll notice if I select like the first color in this group here, like this orange, you'll notice in my paint bucket tool I have 3 squares now. To the left is this / key. The middle square is this orange key. And the right square is this little pink key. So what this thing over your paint bucket is doing is showing you all the colors you have in your swatch panel. And if I use my arrow keys, watch what happens to these colors over my bucket. See, now the pink one is selected, and I have orange on my, or this kind of mustard on my left, and this brownish green on my right. Hit the arrow key again and watch the color panel. Arrow key goes to the right. Now I have this green color selected. This pink is on my left. Everyone see how that's working? I can just scroll through with my arrow keys, and it's selecting all these different colors from my swatch panel. So what I'm going to ask you to do is click on this first color, and what you're going to do is you're going to fill in all of these shapes with a different color. So, and I'll show you how to do this very quickly. So you may think that's going to take forever. No, I'm going to take one color, and I'm just going to go through and like, whoops, and select many shapes to shade. Then I'll use my arrow key and select a different color. And I'll use my arrow keys again to select a different color. And the point of this exercise is just showing me you know how to use this live paint bucket and the arrow keys. It doesn't matter if your colors overlap or repeat, or if you have some with patterns in there. Just show me a multicolored chain. Right? Same goes with this one here. I need to turn this into a live paint object. If I click it with my selection tool, you'll notice the transformation handles are these little marshmallows here. This is not a live paint object. So first step, selection tool. Second step, object. Third step, object drop down. Fourth step, live paint. Fifth step, make. There, here, I see my shattered snowflakes. Now I'm gonna go and grab my paint bucket tool. Letter K is the shortcut. I'll select my first color here, and I'll start coloring in some stuff, and then I'll use my arrow keys and start filling in non-adjacent colors. Just get it full. No white space, please. The only way you're going to get no points on this part of the assignment is if you give me a solid color. Like if you give me a little shirt with it's all red, you won't get credit for that. But if you give me, a few colors, that's fine. All right, so that's the easy one. That's the vector stuff. Let me show you how to take, so you go back, everyone should do this. You should go back to your old notes from elementary school, high school, find a drawing that you're proud of. We all have drawings like that. And let me show you this butterfly first. It's the easier one. Now, what you should do is get some tracing paper out and ink it. Place your tracing paper over your old sketch and you ink it. Or you can ink directly on it if you're brave enough, but you don't have. Or you can run it through a Xerox machine, because you see here's some light line pencil sketches. Now I'm going to show you what happens to something that is not inked. So this is just a very fine pencil drawing. I'm going to turn this into a live paint object. So the first thing we need to do is you grab your selection tool and you click on your picture. That brings up these options here. One of the options says image trace. Now if the first thing that pops up is like a red X or a blue X, because you drag the picture from your desktop, you need to first hit the embed button. I've already done that, so it says unembed. But if you see an X on here, look up at the top, click that embed button. Now I'm going to hit the image trace. This is what Illustrator is famous for. This is why some people love Illustrator and some people hate it. The people that hate Illustrator haven't seen this function yet. Watch this pencil drawing. I'm going to click on the image trace button, image trace. Boom. It's now, it's almost a vector object. So to turn it into vector anchors, I'm going to hit this expand button next. Now, I can't see the anchors. If I click on this white triangle, this direct selection tool, you can see all the anchors that went into making this. It's as if someone took their pen tool and was like, da 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 da, and then drew all of this stuff for you, right? So this used to be a pencil drawing. I hit Control Z. So I click the selection tool, click on my image, click on image trace. Now let's say I wanted to get some of the antenna, maybe a little bit more detail. There is a square right here called the image trace panel. It's hidden from you guys, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it. You click on the image trace panel, and you have all different kinds of options here for tracing, including like photorealistic high fidelity stuff. So let me just show you the basic black and white. I'm going to try to get some more of this antenna showing up. So here's my, this is called threshold. This is the sensitivity of Adobe's program to pick up these lines. Right now, you see I already have 1,500 anchors laid down here. Let me up my threshold here to like 180. And you can see how instantly it became more sensitive. My lines are darker. Sometimes it gets a little muddy, so we don't want to go too dark. Like if you're hell-bent on seeing the flower here, remember that light pencil flower we drew? I have to bring this up to what, 240? And now it's just too sensitive. Let's go down a little bit. So now if I bring it up to like 230, I can kind of see that, but I've completely lost all the detail of my butterfly. We don't want that to happen. So that's why I suggested inking it. So when you ink your drawing, the lines will become more clear, like this flat over here. So this is probably the best we can do for this. Now I'm going to hit the expand button. Third step, very important. Many people forget this. Expand button is what turns all these anchors. I have 1,300 anchors. Boom, expand. Now if I take my direct select tool, I can see all those anchors. Look at that. All right, so now that I have this, I want to turn it into a live paint object. So the same 7 steps, or whatever, however many steps there were, 5. Selection tool 1, click on the object 2. Object dropdown, go to live paint object. Click on object live paint make. Now we see those little shattered snowflakes. Grab my paint bucket tool, it's the letter K on the keyboard. Click on a color here, and I'm just going to go through and start, laying color in, using my arrow keys to move. Move this around, and you're going to fill in all these squares. So sometimes people will like turn your entire butterfly one color. That's just, you color the black part purple. You can just go click on black again and click on that, or whatever color you want. I'm going to go to my color story here, start putting these in, and anyway, you get the idea. Multicolored butterfly, perfectly fine if the flower doesn't show up. Now I'm going to show you something a little bit more complicated. Again, this is what happens when you don't have a pencil drawing. So, look, here's my project, right? I got to turn snap to grid off here. View, turn off snap to grid. I'm going to turn off my rulers to my view, turn off my smart guide, or turn off hide grid. All right. So let's say I wanted to add like flats or croquis that I've drawn here. And I go to my fashion tech folder, go to my image folder, and let's see. So this is what, like, let's say you've drawn a croquis and then you inked it with your tracing paper, right? And so you have a nice solid black line, right? So I'm going to take this picture right here, and I'm going to drag it up into my project here. I'm going to just drag this picture up into the tab of my project, and I'm going to drop it down. So now when I look at my project, I see, here's my my croquis. I'm going to take, this mosaic here. Let's move this. Let's get this out of the way. We'll put this on our reference page. The 4th page of our project is our reference page. This is where we're going to put all of the stuff, all the material we use to get our colors, our croquis, our flats. The photographs of your clothing should go here. Photographs that you use for your croquis, your original drawing should go here, or something. I could probably move this down here. So your page 4 will start looking like this. Pictures of your clothing, pictures of your croquis, whether they're photographs or whether you hand drew them, pictures of your background color for your thing. And then once you have it inked, let me show you how easy it is to add color to this, right? Image trace, boom. Okay, it's not dark enough, right? I lost a lot of my lines. So I'm going to go to my image trace panel, and I'm going to crank up this sensitivity. And this is why we do the faces and hands separate, is as we increase our sensitivity, we lose all the detail in our eyes. What may have had details like iris and eyelashes are now gone because I had to increase my sensitivity to see my lines. That's why it's important to ink it. The more ink you have, the less you have to move this threshold up, and you can preserve details. Otherwise, you just have to get a close-up photo of another actress, trace her head, and then copy and paste it over here and scale it down. Anyway, live trace, right? I did my image trace panel, messed around with my threshold to get my lines to show up. Now I'm going to hit the expand button to see my, always remember, expand button is like the 3rd step, right? Now I'm going to turn this into a live paint object. So after I hit the expand button, object, live paint make, and did it turn into a live paint object? Yeah, so here you see those little I click on my selection tool, and then you can see these little shattered stars here. Now I grab my paint bucket tool, and you can go to your flesh tones and just start, adding flesh color. Oops. So you see that this foot is open right here. Now when I tried to add the paint bucket here, my whole thing turned to color. So I need to close this shape. So all I'm going to do here to close this shape is I'm going to grab my direct select tool, and I'm going to take one of these anchors. So click on empty space first, click on one of these anchors, and I'm going to drag it down to another anchor here. And now if I grab my paint bucket tool, see how I close the shape just by dragging that anchor over? And I can add, you know, add some color. Pretty easy, you know. And if you have like clothing already made, you know, you can add your color to your clothing. Pretty easy. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway, we'll talk more about that next week. I can also, like, if you want to do some shading, I'll talk more about that next week. You can also, you know, just grab a gradient here. You can you can add some color, like brown on one end of the gradient spectrum and white on the other. And when you have that color, I can take this color swatch and I can drop it down into my swatch panel. Here's this color gradient I just created. You can grab your paint bucket tool and oh, so I have this, the whole thing filled with the color. So I'm going to choose no fill right here and click on this white space to get rid of this weird fills. Even between her arms here, I can get rid of those, between her legs here. And I've very quickly put some gradients, added some volume here. Oops, it's all, the whole thing selected. So let me just highlight a few of these things. You know, pretty easy, right? So let me show you the in-class work. So I'm going to show you, we're going to work on that, closing that gap for our fill with these 5 leaves. So if these 5 leaves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all need to be filled in with a color. Every leaf that is not filled in, you will lose 1 point. So let me show you how to fill these leaves in. So this is another pencil sketch that we could turn into a vector drawing. And like, you know, there are a lot of websites like cafepress.com and places like that where you can take your own artwork. You guys are ready to do a little side hustle. I saw somebody take like 5 black circles and create a panda's face, just 5 circles. He created a panda face, uploaded it to Cafe Press. Every time someone downloads it with a t-shirt, they get like a nickel or 50 cents or something. So you get like 50,000 people downloading it. You've got like a significant amount of money. Anybody's ready to do this now that you have Illustrator under your belt with any of your own drawings. Like, so you take an old pencil drawing like this, and you know, this is what happens if you don't ink it. Selection tool, click on your picture, image trace, right? I've lost all those leaves because I didn't trace it with black ink. So I'm going to try to recover it now with the image trace panel, but watch the detail of these inside of these flowers as I increase the threshold here to, like, say, the magic number for this drawing is about 240, which is crazy high. That will get our leaves here, but it also makes our flowers kind of dark and muddled, but that's fine. For this assignment, I'm only worried about these leaves. All right, so once I have that done, don't forget, hit the expand button. And then I'm going to go to Object, Live Paint Make. And I'm going to grab my, my paint bucket tool. And I need to fill in these leaves with color. So let me zoom in here. Paint bucket tool. So that leaf looks good. 1 leaf. This leaf has a pretty big hole in it. If I click it, the whole sky turns green. Control Z. So how do I close this gap? You grab your direct select tool. Click on empty space first. Now I'm going to go back to this here. And I need to, with my direct select tool, I'm going to grab an anchor. And I'm going to drag it over. And over here, I'll grab an anchor and drag it over. So I've closed this leaf here. Now let's grab my paint bucket tool and see if I can fill it with a green color here. Boom, right? So and that's how you do that. So this one here, I'm trying to fill it with a green color. I can't. I need to close. I see 2 gaps here. So I'm going to grab my direct select tool, drag 1 anchor over, drag any old anchor over. And even though it doesn't have a black fill, I think it's still closed. So now I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool and put some green in there. And I filled it. Over here I've got some objects, so let me drag these anchors around, close the tip of this leaf over here, close that line, close this line here. Grab my paint bucket tool, grab some green paint, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, this last leaf. I see a gap here, I see a gap there. So direct select tool, grab an anchor, close that one, close this one. There's 4 spaces. Close that one, close this one. This one's tricky. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I gotta do this big honking leaf right here. Boom, 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 whoops. This one is too big, so I gotta do some space closing here. So I'm gonna close this leaf up. Let's zoom in right here. Grab my direct select tool, grab this anchor right here and drag it over. Let's close that. Get my paint bucket tool, boom, boom. All right, there's a line missing right here, so let me grab my direct select tool, drag an anchor over, paint bucket, boom. All right, over here, that looks good. Okay, that's good enough. Those leaves, and then, you know, if you want, you can fill in the flowers too. You just go like boom, boom, boom. I'm using my arrow keys here. All right, something like that. And that's how you do that. Now, sometimes you start coloring in, you forget to hit the expand button, or for whatever reason, this one isn't working, which happens a lot. Best thing to do is just start over. So I'm going to take my selection tool, click on this picture here, hit delete, go to my file and go to open recent, and then find the in class 2 file before I changed it to my name, and you open that one, and then you can see it preserved all of your stuff. This is the one that has no name on it. So now I'm going to take this photograph here and I'll drag it up to my in-class work over here and drop it in, and now I can start over. So I'll go close this one and close this one. I'm closing tabs I'm not using because I don't want to make my computer tired. Here, the review. Selection tool, click on your picture. Image trace, boom. Image trace panel, threshold, 240. Now, I'm only doing threshold of 240 on this picture. Most pictures, you don't need to mess with this, but this is how you get darker lines in case you're almost there. So like I showed you with this project here, just to get this line here, I just kind of cranked it up a little bit to see some facial features. And then once you have here, don't forget the expand button. Expand, and then object, live paint make. And then you go through with your paint bucket and you start, like, you know, adding color to your drawing here. I need to see the color green on these leaves. And then to close these leaves, you grab your direct select tool. Oops. Click on the anchor. Then you move your anchors over. And you grab your paint bucket tool, and with your green color, oops, you can fill that in. And that's how you do that. Right? Moving on. Let's show you how to change the color palette. So since I already have my color story here, I'm going to change this color to my color story. So I'm going to click on my folder here. Wait, let's click on the picture. So selection tool, click on the photograph here. And then once you have your photo selected, I want to change the colors here. I'm going to go up to this color wheel button that pops up when you click on a picture with your selection tool. Color wheel. I click on that, and I'm going to click on this button here, Advanced Options, because we are advanced, right? Intro to Fashion Tech. Now you see this is the color palette that is used to make this pattern. And I can select my own color group that I made earlier. And that's it. Boom, done. This one too. Change it to your color group. I'm going to click on the picture, click on the color wheel, click on Advanced Options. And you know, if you want to just go through manually and start, you know, choosing which colors, you can just click and drag and let's see here. Yeah, you can just double click on these and click and drag them around, and then you'll see you can start changing this color. This is kind of a long way to do this. All you need to do is just make sure this is selected and click on your new color group here, and it'll just instantly change. Should. I don't see any change here. Let's try that again. Color wheel, advanced. You know, this is color group here. You can just find like a different, oh wait. This is my color group. There we go. So I clicked on my color story. All my colors change. That's how you do that. All right, let me show you about patterns now. All right, so everyone sit back and watch this. Now to create a pattern, I'm going to be using my object pattern make tool right here under object. So the first thing we need to do is we need a background color. So I'm going to take a square and I'm just going to drag a big square out. Now you see I have a pattern fill here. I don't want that. I'm going to choose one of my colors from my color story that I made earlier. And whoops, I need 10 motifs here. Let's pretend these motifs are numbered. I have a 1, we've got a 2, whoops. We've got 3 here, 4, 5, 6. Selection tool, okay. So we need 10 motifs. I'll show you how to do this in a second here. Let me just show you quickly how to make a pattern. So once you have these, I'm going to take these objects that I've traced with my pen tool, and I'm going to take this object. I'm going to copy and paste it here. So edit copy, edit paste. I need to have 2 copies of this. So I'm going to drag this copy over here. And of course, if you don't want to do that, you can just select your object, hold your Alt key down if you have a PC. It's the Option key if you have a Mac until you see those 2 triangles. Now when you click and drag, you're automatically copying and pasting, right? Now, Taryn, are you there? Barb, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Why is my basket underneath? Why is my basket underneath my square?
It's not layered right.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to open my layer panel and figure out where my layer is. But if I have like way too many layers to figure this out, how can I bring this to the front?
You gotta change your numbers around. Okay, when you click on that, what number popped up what number is the basket?
Oh, there's a number?
Doesn't something light up over here to show you what layer?
Oh yeah, on my layer panel. So
Yeah.
it's way down here near the bottom. And the square is way over here near the top. So yeah, so either I have to just like click, I have to take this layer and physically drag it up, or I can right click on it, say arrange, and say bring to front.
Oh, okay.
And then now, if I look at my layer panel, here it is.
And it's at the front.
At the very tip top.
Stay?
Yeah, so you can just say right click and you can say, you know, arrange and bring to the front or send to the back. It's a quick and dirty way to do this because it goes all the way to the front or back. So I need a third one. Here, let's grab this bird, copy and paste, hold my Alt key down until I see that double triangle. All right, it's behind the square. So I'm going to right click, arrange, bring to the front. All right, so I have 3 patterns arranged, or 3 little motifs. And I have like a little motif unit that I want to turn into a pattern. So all I got to do is take my selection tool. So this is how to make a pattern, ladies and gentlemen. First step, selection tool. Second step, drag a box around all your objects. You see it highlighted here. Third step, object, pattern, make. And it says we added a new pattern to your swatch panel. There it is. Excuse me. Now it gives me a preview of what my pattern will look like. This black square is my artboard. This purple square here is my area of repeat. This is my background color and my little objects here. And if I move these objects, it'll give me a preview of what my pattern will look like in real time. So I can do all kinds of editing. You know, let's say I want to put my bird on top, and rotate it, put the basket underneath it, and it'll kind of give me a preview. This little light opacity preview is not actually there. It's just a pre-visualization for my sake. I want to edit my pattern. All right, so I'm going to change the name here. We'll call this Bunny Chick 1. And I'm in a grid layout. So here's my grid. Here's my half drop, brick by column or brick by row. And here's my hex one, hex by column. So we're going to do all 3 of these. The first one is grid. Grid means it's the same motif to my right and above me. So if I hit done, it returns me back to my original page here. But the only difference is now in my swatch panel, I have my pattern, Bunny Chick 1. So I need to move all this out of the way. So I'm going to take my selection tool and I'm going to drag a box around all of these little elements here. I'm going to hold my shift key down so I can resize symmetrically. I'll put this over here. And then I'll take my square tool and I'll drag a big square out here. And for my fill, I'm going to fill it with my new pattern, Bunny Chick 1. Now I filled my pattern here, but again, like I said in the beginning of this lab, was my motifs are too big. I need to see 3 motifs repeating horizontally or vertically. So all I need to do is take my selection tool and click on my square here. It shows me which pattern I used, Bunny Chick 1. I'll double click that to open my pattern editor. And now I'm going to take my selection tool and I'm going to drag it around this blue box because this is the area of repeat. And I'm going to hold my shift key down and resize it. Now, inside this blue square is the area of repeat, and you see I have a lot of white space now, which is also being repeated. That's why I have this big white space. If I want to eliminate that, I'm going to hit Size Tile to Art here, and it will resize my repeats to my artwork. So let me zoom in here. So right now, I will hit Done, and you see I've resized my pattern. I can see my motifs 1, 2, 3 repeating horizontally, or I have 4 vertically. That's perfectly fine. I need to go over here and talk about which motifs I used. It was motif 1, 6, and 2. So I'll go over here and type in 1, 6, 2. Grab my selection tool. I can move this around. And then over here, this one's called, I'll type in the title for that. Selection tool to grab my handles here. I don't want to skew it, so I'm going to hold my shift key, make sure it's nice and symmetrical. And that's how you do the first page. Block. So now let me show you. So sometimes when people are doing their work and they have Size Tile to Art, this is turned on. Look what happens when my artwork goes a little bit past my background color. I get this little, because it's sizing my repeats to my artwork. My artwork is going over my background layer a little bit. When I hit done, now I have this kind of like white line in between. The reason why that's happening is because my background color is not big enough, or one of my artwork is kind of heading out over past my background color. You see that? And so to get rid of that, all we have to do is move our object into, make sure it's within my background color, or you can just click on the background color itself and kind of stretch it out a little bit, cover that white space. And that's how you get rid of that. Excuse me. All right, let me show you how to do the half drop. So the same thing here, I'm going to take 3 of my motifs. I'm going to hold my Alt key down, or Option key if you have a Mac. So I can copy and paste it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I forgot my square for my background color. So draw a big square here from my color story. And of course, I'm covering it, so I'm going to right-click on this square and say Arrange, Send to the Back. Now I can see my motifs here. And I'm going to say, I need to make a pattern, so I'm going to take my selection tool, drag it around everything, and we'll go Object, Pattern, Make. We added your new swatch, the swatch panel. Fantastic. All right, so now I'm going to go to a new pattern here. We'll call this one Bee Bird 1. And hit done. And now I need to take this little, these elements that I used, and I'm going to hold my Shift key down and resize this. Put this up here. You know, I could copy this over here. Call this one half drop. Selection tool. All right, for this. I need to make my square here. So here's my square, and I'll drag this out. I need to fill it with my pattern. Here's this blue pattern. Several problems here. I've got a white grid line. It's too big. It's not a block. It's a block. It's not a half drop. So let's go back into our pattern editor, and we'll fix this problem. Right? So I'll double click on my pattern because it's highlighted. Anytime you click on a square with your selection tool, it'll show you what pattern you used for a fill. So over here, click on this one. Now it's the blue one. So here I'll double click. And I have a little white grid line here. Who can tell me how to get rid of this white grid line? Taryn. Right, Rylan Saunders, you there? Rylan Saunders. Dustin?
Click on the Shift key.
Yep. Who said that?
Isabella.
Who said that?
Isabella.
Isabella? Great. Yeah. To get rid of this white, what did you want me to do?
You click on the Shift key and you hold it down to resize it.
Well, if I hold the Shift key, so I don't have anything selected. If I hold the Shift key down, so first I have to select to resize. So right now, I have this little white line. Oh yeah, so let's resize everything. I'm going to grab my selection tool. I'm going to drag my box over all my stuff. And I'm going to resize. So now how do I get rid of this white space? Rachel, are you there?
Yeah, sorry.
How do I get rid of this white space?
You can zoom in on your artwork depending on with the blue frame around it.
Okay, so yeah, I can either take my background color and like move it out.
Can't you click the size tile to art?
Yeah, that's what I should
Yeah.
do. So I'm going to hit Control Z is not working. That's interesting. All right, so now if I hit Size Tile to Art, it should work,
Yeah.
right? So let's take a look. So I've resized everything, but I still have this white line. What's going on?
Go back to the blue frame.
Yep.
Because the side on the right, you just need to stretch out the background to.
Yeah, I just need to stretch the background out. Or
Yeah.
I could just move the object here. See? Because it will automatically resize to wherever my artwork is. So I'm going to just put my artwork, tuck it in here. All right, done. Now I have the correct scale. I've got no white grid lines. Half drop. Oh, it's not half drop. This is a block pattern. So I'm going to go open my pattern editor again. Instead of grid, I'm going to go brick by column or brick by row, one of these two. And then it shifts everything halfway. Done. Half drop achieved. Yay. All right. Class goes to what? 1 or 130?
130.
All right. So now let's do the hex pattern. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put my motif numbers over here. So I got like 3, 4, and 6. Three, comma, 4, comma, 6. Selection tool. All right, let's do my hex. Now I'm going to do this polygon tool right here. This is how I get my hexagon shape. It's rotating, so I need to hold my shift key down to stop it from rotating. Let's change the color to something from my color story, and let's grab 3 motifs here. Again, I'm going to hold my Alt key to copy and paste this. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And again, my color shape is on top, so I'm going to grab my selection tool and click on this color shape, and I'm going to right click and go Arrange, Send to the back. And then I'm going to arrange my little animals here. You know, you can rotate these, you can change the color, you can make them bigger or whatever. Now I'm going to take my selection tool, I'm going to drag a box around all these objects. And I'll say Object, Pattern, Make. And it says we've added a new pattern to your swatch panel. Great. So we'll call this, we'll give it a name, Hex Bunny 1. And hit done, and let's take a look at my pattern. Let me move this out of the way here. Hold my shift key down. Let's move this up. And let's drag out a big hexagon shape right here. I'm gonna hold my shift key down to lock it. Oops. And then I need to give it a fill here with my new hexagon fill. Lots of problems. Oh my goodness. I got white space. It's too large. Let's go back and fix this. Who can we call on? Zaria, you there? Nope. I'm going to stop calling on people. This is getting depressing. Taryn. All right, so here, I'm going to double click on this pattern here to open my pattern editor. If you guys are watching.
Yes.
Taryn, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, were you paying attention?
Yes.
All right, so how do I get rid of this? How do I fix this problem? I don't see my motifs repeating 3 times. How do I shrink it? First step, I double click on what? I grab my selection tool.
The box.
Let's click on my box here, my hexagon. And then you see a highlighted box right there, right?
Mm.
I double click on that, that opens my pattern editor, right? All right, So now the first thing we need to take care of is the size. It's too big. Do you remember how to resize this? Who could help Taryn out?
You just click on size tile to art.
Okay, let's try that.
Possible. No, never mind.
Don't you have to click on it and make the arrows come in and then pull it down?
I need to, let's just shrink all this stuff. So this
All right,
blue,
click on yourself, the arrow up there.
Yeah.
And then that'll open it up, and then you can pull it in.
Pull it in.
But yeah, shouldn't some arrow little.
Oh, I see. So right here,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then bring it down.
That's
But
my
you gotta-
background color.
But you haven't captured all your parts, all your little animals.
How do I do that, Barbara?
They're not attached.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my selection tool.
Okay.
And I'm going to drag a capture box around all 4 of these elements. Because this light area is just a preview. Nothing is here. I can click all I want, nothing happens. But here, I click on any of these, something happens. So I'm going to click and drag outside my blue box to capture all 4 of these elements. And then I'm going to grab this corner, just like you said, hold my shift key down, and I'll resize everything smaller. Now, I don't know if that was Isabella or who said earlier about size tile to art. Let's try that.
Me.
Size tile to art. Boom. Let's hit done. All right, so my scale is better, but now I have these white diamonds. How I get rid of that is I left it on grid by accident. I need to change this to hex by column. Not hex by row, hex by column. And then it shifts everything like a half drop in a hexagon shape. So let's see what happens if my bird kind of goes outside my background a little bit. I have this little white grid line here. And again, that is just because my artwork, I have size tile to art here. My artwork is going a little bit outside of the blue area of repeat. So I just either need to tuck this in or I need to take my background color and just kind of stretch it out a little bit.
I have a question.
Sure.
Aren't you supposed to group them all together from the beginning
Oh yeah, that would be great.
so that you don't have to like move the bird around and stuff?
Well, yeah, but if you group it, then you can't move the bird around and stuff. Oh wait, can you? No, you can't. So like here, watch this. So let's say in the beginning, these were all grouped. Now, of course, now that it's all grouped, I can resize it, and that's great. But I can no longer move my bunny, or like let's say I want to put my bird under my bunny. I can't do that because it's grouped. I'd have to go back up here, Object, Ungroup, and then I could move my bunny down and edit my pattern. Then once you have that, yeah, you can grab everything again and say group. It's just a few extra steps, but it's up to you. Grouping locks everything together, so I don't do a lot of grouping. I know Mrs. Benitez, she teaches them different sections. She groups everything, constantly grouping. It's just a different style. You're free to group if you want. I'm gonna grab this text here, let's copy this over. Let's change this name to Hex. And grab my selection tool, and I have these 3. I have 5, 6, and 1 as my motifs. And there's my in-class work. So you guys work on that. Let me show you in context of our project here. Whoops. Oh yeah, project. All right, so pattern, what am I showing you? Pattern, half drop. pattern editor. What am I forgetting? So the homework, okay, the homework. So this is the in-class work. So let me show you what the homework is. So if we go back to our folder that we downloaded today, and we see the flat drawing templates for drawing our flats. We'll talk about that later. And then we have in-class work. We also have little PDFs here on how to use the pattern tool, how to create a mosaic. We had these in here because we didn't have videos before. Now you can just watch the video. Or if you don't want to watch the whole video, you can just read the instructions, you know, step by step, how to do what we did. This is the homework here. I'm going to open this in Illustrator. And this is what we have. This is also due next week. It's the same exercise, but we have to do everything by scratch. We got to do 3 things, right? First thing we do, Taryn, what's the first thing we do when we open up a new Illustrator file? Kylie, are you there?
Yes.
What's the first thing we do when we open up a new Illustrator file?
Did you size it to the right thing? Sheets?
You mean like this? No, you can just do whatever you want. What's the first thing we do? Look up here. It says Classwork 5 Illustrator.
Oh, you have to save it?
Yeah. File, save as. Where do we save it?
In your, in your folder that's on your computer.
Very good. So proud of you.
As an AI first, and then a PDF when you're done.
Excellent work, Kylie. All right, so here it says Classwork 5 Illustrator. I'm going to delete that Illustrator thing here. And in front of Classwork, I'm going to put my last name. I might even change that from Classwork to Homework. Why is it called Homework 5? This is like week 3 Illustrator work 2 or what? I don't know what's going on. This is, anyway, let's just keep it right there. Hit save. Now I see, it says right here, it says Hahn Homework 5. Second thing we do, Rachel, are you there? Isabella, are you there?
Hello.
Who said that? Rachel?
It takes a second for me to like go and click the mute button.
Are you?
Unmute.
Where are you in Ohio or Korea or where are you?
I'm in Ohio right now.
Okay. All right. So what's the second thing? What was my question? Oh yeah, first thing we saved it. What's the second thing we do?
We go to Window and then Essentials Classic.
Yep. Or Reset Essentials. Yep. And the third thing, who else? Isabella Lasky? You there?
I'm here.
Gabriella Musara, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. What's the third thing I do? First thing I did
You
was
need
I
to create
saved
your
my name.
object mosaic next.
No,
Or
first thing
are
I
you not
saved
there
my
yet?
name. Second
Okay.
thing I went Workspace, Essentials Classic. Third thing is what? Somebody help her out. Jenna? Dean? Lorelei?
Show your edges.
Show your edges right here. See, it says show edges. I need to click on that. All right. Now let me show you how to do this. You know, I could probably just open up an example because I'm lazy. Patterns. All right, so what we're going to do for our homework here is we're going to go to WGSN and we're going to find 10 pictures, you know, or enough pictures to get 10 motifs. Some pictures have more than, like this picture, she had probably 3 motifs she was able to get. We're going to copy them and resize them and put them here on our artboards. Then we're going to go in with the Illustrator's pen tool and we're going to trace out 10 motifs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to make our patterns: block pattern, half drop pattern, hex pattern. Right? So let me show you that. So the first thing we got to do is find our WGSN print research images. So To find WGSN, I'm going to go to my LabSpark presentation and go to my WGSN link. Should be somewhere. There, WGSN, right there. So that takes us to our library database page, which you should already have bookmarked. And I'm going to go to WGSN. And I'm going to go look for some, let's see, I'm going to go look for, here, under Research and Create, I'm going to go down to Prints and Graphics here. And let's go to Images. And I need to go look for prints here. So I'm going to go, all right, Prints and Graphics here. And I need to figure out some kind of view all prints and graphics here. We'll go Prints. I'll click on the Prints button. Hit Apply. And then I get lots of prints here. So if I were to grab like a picture like, let's say this one, I'll right click and say Copy Image. And if you can't copy the image, just move on, find a different one that you can copy. And then I'm going to go to my Illustrator here and I'll paste this image down. And now this black square is my artboard. You can see how huge this picture was here. So this is way too big. I'm going to hold my Shift key down and grab this corner and resize this. All right, so now I've resized my artwork here. And you're going to do that like 10, up to 10 pictures. But like a picture like this, if I can get 3 motifs out of it, then I only need to do like 7 pictures or so. So we'll call this picture 1. And I'm going to trace something out of here. So what I'm gonna do is, first step, click on my image. And let's lock it. Let's change the opacity. Second step, change the opacity to like 50% so I can see my tracing. Third step is I'm going to lock this image down. So I'm going to go open my layer panel. And I'm going to go find that picture. And I can verify I have the right picture by clicking on this eyeball here. And I'm going to go to the right of the eyeball and click on this padlock. Now that picture is locked down so I can do my tracing and not worry about it moving around. All right, so now I'm going to zoom in. And with my pen tool, I'm going to trace some stuff. Pen tool. Now right here I can see I have a black fill with no stroke line. I need to change that. Let's go no fill. Let's trace with a black color here. All right, and then I'm going to trace this. I had a very poor, I selected poorly where my anchor is going to go. So I'm going to hold my space bar and I'm going to reposition my anchor. And we'll get my first curve here. And you know, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect because we're just going to make our own pattern based off of this as kind of a whatchamacallit, inspiration for our pattern. So I still want to get my angles right, so I'm going to try to, oops. Let's do this here, let's do that. Sometimes I can get lucky and I can get like some pretty good approximations. Now this one went a little wild, so I'm going to fix that with my direct select tool, the white triangle. Since my edges are showing, I see my handles here. I can reposition this line. I can hold my space bar down and reposition the anchor. I can go click on this one and move that handle. You can get everything nice and perfect here. All right, so there's my first tracing. And if you want, you can make the line thicker or add some kind of nuance to the line, make it look kind of interesting. You can even add a little color if you want to from it. That doesn't matter. I'm going to move this over to my motif board, and I'm going to put my number 1 down here, and 2 over here, and 3 over there, and 4 over there. 5 over there, 6, etc., etc. You see what I'm doing, right? And so let me just show you again. So I'm like on WGSN. I'll find another picture. Right click, copy image. Go to this thing. Paste my image down. I have to zoom out. Control minus, and hold my shift key down and resize that one. And I'll move that over here, and we'll zoom in on this. And it's still too big. Selection tool. Right? Type tool. Number 2 right there. And then I will prep this picture for tracing. I'm going to reduce the opacity by like 50%. And then I'm going to lock the image down. Now this image over here, once you're done tracing, you can unlock it and you can bring the opacity back up. You know, this one is locked and opacity is down. So I'll go in with my pen tool and I will start tracing here. And I think it went to like a black fill again. So here's my my tulip here. We don't want a black fill. We do want a black outline though. And then maybe I'll make it kind of a little funny looking. And maybe I can add some more lines here on the inside. The petals, you know, you don't have to. It's really up to you. Whatever you want on your pattern here. And I'll grab this. And you know, we can group that if you want. Some people like grouping. I'm going to cut this picture out and let's go over to my motif page. And boom. And there's my second, and that's how we do that. Everyone see what I'm doing? And then I'm going to go back over here, click on this picture. We'll unlock it. We'll bring the opacity back up. And then rinse, repeat. And then, you know, when you have your third motif, let's see if we can do this one. It's just real quick and dirty, this one. All right. Black line. You know, this is just horrible, but I can't grab it, it's too small. So I'm gonna make this bigger. And let's move this over here. And then once you have your motifs, you know, you're gonna make your block pattern. So you'll go like rectangle tool, you make your block. You choose your color from your color story. You may have to like, so you'll see right here, let's say I don't have a color story yet. So when I click here, I don't see a color story. You can grab, like if you made your color story from your project here, you can grab these 5 squares here and hit copy, and then go to your homework here and hit paste. And now when you look at your colors, you'll see your 5 colors here. So now that I have those, I could just click on these, hold my control key down and click on these 5 colors. and click on that folder and say from selected swatches. And then I've created my own color group with the Pantone codes even. So now I can delete these here. Now I have colors. So here's my first pattern. We'll make a big square. And you can select any color from your color story, right? And then you drag your, take 3 of your motifs here, copy and paste, and I paste them over here. And you're gonna move these around. And you'll get these positioned in a way that you want. Then to make a pattern, you go Object, Pattern, Make. It says we've added your pattern to the swatch panel. Great. Uh-oh. But my pattern is solid color. What happened? I didn't select everything. So selection tool, remember, drag a box around all of your objects. Now we go Object, Pattern, Make. We've added the pattern to your swatch panel. Here's my pattern. I can move these around here. Everything looks good. Hit done. I'll take this group here, select them all, resize it, put that up here. You know, I have a 1, 2, 3 for my motifs. And then this is going to be a block pattern. You have to label everything. Hold my shift key down to get that symmetrical. Now I'm going to grab a big square and I'm going to fill it with my new pattern right here. And it's a little bit large, so I'm going to go to my pattern editor here and we'll grab everything again and we will resize it. Hold my shift key down. Hit size tile to art. Oh, this one I should probably give a name like Sunstar 1. All right. And there's my block pattern. All right, and if you want to go back to your project here, I can take this, I can copy this, go edit copy. You can go paste this into your project. And once you've done that, now you see the pattern has a swatch here. So I could delete that. I can click on this square and add my pattern. Now that's too big for here, so I got to resize it again. Let's grab this. We'll resize that. Hit done. Now I have my motifs 1, 2, 3. And if I want to change my color story, you just have to double click on this pattern here and then save as a copy. We'll call this Sunstar 2. So now I have 2 patterns here, right? Let's make sure this square is filled with this pattern. Let's take this square and fill that pattern. Now I will open it again and let's change the color. Zoom in here. So if I just change my background color, that's probably enough. I'll click on the background color, then choose a different color for my color story. Hit done. And now I have the exact same pattern, exact same scale with a different colorway. And that's how you do that. All right, so let's go back to our homework here. Block. So
I have a question before you move on.
Sure.
So we have to download, we have to find, on WGSN, we have to find 10 different images.
Yeah, but like, you know, a picture like this, if you could find three motifs from here, then you won't need 10, you maybe need 7. You have 1 motif, 2 motifs, 3 motifs, but you should label everything.
And
so, you know, if you get 3 motifs per picture, then you only need like 5 pictures instead of 10 pictures.
We've got to have 10 boards at the end, right?
I need to have 10 motifs at the end over here.
10 over there, and then these 3 done.
And between 5 and 10 pictures over here.
Okay.
I think if you got like 3 motifs per picture, you could probably get away with 4 pictures.
Okay. Okay.
Right, and then you'll upload this homework plus this in-class work. You're gonna convert both of these to PDFs after you save your master file. Make sure your name is on it, okay? So last week I gave out a few zeros to students to, if you didn't have your name on it, I at least put a note. I think I gave you a warning last week. Your name is not on it. This week, if your name is not on your work, if you hand in something that just says Illustrator in class 2, you will get a 0. It needs to have your name saved there. Okay?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Okay, do we have to have, and maybe I misunderstood what you said. Right when you started this, you said, okay, go here and download Adobe Illustrator. We have to have 2 Adobe Illustrators downloaded? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Because
I was
already,
talking about the homework file, so where to download the work that we're doing in class today. So if you go to Blackboard here, and you go to our course content, in our lab folder, we've got this file called In Class Illustrator 2. I wanted you to download this folder.
okay.
And
And that's where what all our homework is going to be, and that's in just this folder here?
And then, so if you look in your folder, yeah, that's where all of this stuff is. You have the in-class work, you have the homework that we're doing, we have the mosaic instructions. So once you download this, you want to move this out of your download folder, copy it, and move it into your Fashion Tech folder.
Oh, okay.
Here, I've put my Fashion Tech folder, which is in my document folder. I have my Illustrator 2 folder. There's my stuff here. So that's what I said to download. These are the 2 files here.
All right, because I had already had Illustrator downloaded, but I don't know if it says in-class homework. I'll have to look and see what it says.
You'll have to extract it. Double click on the folder, hit the extract button. So when you download something, it'll look like a zip file like this. So when you double click it, if you have a PC, which I know you do, Barbara, you're gonna have to hit this extract button. And then you're gonna have to like point toward where you want to extract it, like your document folder or maybe your Fashion Tech folder. And then hit OK, and it will extract everything. Mac users is already extracted. They can just drag their folder to wherever they want.
Okay.
All right, and then
All right.
Here's the homework example. This is the instructions for the homework. I just went over everything. And here's an example if you want to take a look at pattern work that other students have done. I have like 10 examples here. There's their motifs. Here's their block pattern, half drop, hex. Here's their 10 pictures. And you see many students, different styles, different stuff. You can take a look at all those. Also, if you want, for your project 1, we should be working on this as well. Next week, you should have your squares drawn in. You should have your colors put in. You should have your mosaic created. We're just going to follow along. You just want to do knock out as much of this as you can so that you don't have to do all of this the night before it's due, which you cannot do. These projects are too big to do in one night without giving yourself brain damage. So you need to start it now. That's why I'm helping you start this project now. 4 artboards, your squares, Pantone codes, colors. Here's your mosaic, how to make your patterns, and then you should put your clothing photographs over here. And I would start at least tracing the outline of your flats. Get those out of your way by next week. All right? All right, everybody? Everyone, I'm going to stick around here. If you have questions.
I have a question.
Okay, who's speaking?
It's Isabella.
Hey, Isabella, what's your
Can
question?
you go back to your project 1 example with the 4 artboards? So I already traced like my top garment. Where should I put that on each of the 4 artboards? Should it only go on the top left one? I should put my...
Here, let me show you some examples here. So wait, so our project 1, is it just flats and croquis, or is it flats and croquis? Let's see. Lab folder, project. Project 1, flats and croquis. So here's an example here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's like 5 or 6 pages to this. So here's what I'm going to do. So for my project here, I said 4 artboards because this was our old project, was 4 artboards. So I'm going to add 2 more artboards to this. So I'm going to go to my artboard thing here and say artboard 5, artboard 6. And I can rearrange these. Okay. So here's artboard 5 and 6. So your flats will go on the first 4, and your croquis will go on this last board, and then all your reference pictures go here in this area. So let's take a look at an example here. So we have our flats. So this is what she did, lots of great detail. You can overlap them after you've grouped them and finished them, then you can start arranging them. For right now, I would just do like 1 tracing, front and back. The 4th artboard will have your reference photos here, right? So let's see. I don't know where my examples are. But yeah, you'll have your reference page will have all your photographs and of your clothing, and then reference photos for your croquis. And then you can start working over here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. So class is over. You're free to go. I'm going to stick around here to answer more questions if you have any.
I have a question.
All right. Shoot.
So the assignment that was due today, I didn't put my name in the file.
Who's talking?
Oh, Alina.
Here, I'm going to stop my screen share. Alina?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't put my name in the file for the assignment that was due today.
So do it right now and then re-upload it before I check.
Okay.
If you can get it up, if you can get it in before I check it, then you know, I'm not going to check the exact timestamp when it was uploaded. But
I had my initials in it. Is that not?
As long as you save. So once it has a new name, then I know you saved it. So long as you saved it and didn't just.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
This recording you just did, where are we going to find this at since this is on Zoom?
All right, I'll upload it to Black. Thank you for reminding me, Barbara. I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm gonna start the upload process. Anyone else have any questions?
Thank you.
You want on the record? I'm gonna turn the recording off. Bye-bye.